Hey everyone, how's it going? I'd meant to do a video earlier in the week, but it's been a bit busy. Regardless, the topic I want to talk to today is weirdly kind of 4-2-3-1 formation centered around the striker. Now, this is going to be linked into kind of current affairs, if you will. But I've noticed recently someone was talking about Ivan Toney and who he's going to join in the January transfer window. And I was thinking, who are they going to join? Everyone keeps pushing Arsenal. And I just was thinking, well, that's not going to work. Maybe there's a way that it can work where, intricate passing can get them through, but I don't see that working with Arsenal. And the reason why was because Toney is a great goal scorer. If he scores 20 a season for Brentford, he can score 25 for Arsenal. No doubt about that. Great on the penalties. Imagine he'd have that. He's great in the air. He's great in the box. Like you're seeing him with Hodgson right now, he finds the right areas in the box, and that's why he scores goals. It's areas he attacks. It's not necessarily, it's the areas he attacks. Kind of like Gary Lineker, Ruud van Nistelrooy, these strikers. They attack areas, and that's why they're so prolific. And I was thinking, well, hang on. Arsenal are playing a 4-2-3-1, right? Most teams do now. I know City and Liverpool are kind of mucked around with the inverted fullbacks. Manchester United have even done that recently, but it's all kind of a system of the 4-2-3-1. And I think actually it will revert back eventually. I think people just kind of get clever for the sake of being clever. Because when you fundamentally break down the 4-2-3-1, was Mourinho that first had the wingers that would play. You'd play a right foot on the left wing, left foot on the right wing, which is fantastic, right? And he kind of, funny because people talk about Mourinho being a dinosaur. He really enhanced that formation and made it what it was. And was so successful with it. I can't think of many other managers playing it before Mourinho. And what he did was he had his wingers scoring 10 goals a season in the Premier League, right? Well, that's obviously, that replaces the need for two strikers. So the goal allotment that you would have when you had a 9 and a 10, or York and Cole, or two twin strikers, one would score 15, one would score 10 or 20, 15. Well, now you've got one striker, which may score 15. Brilliant. But now instead of your wingers like Giggsy and Beckham getting, I'm using Manchester United just because people know these players and I'm old, getting 5-10 goals, now you've got Arjen Robben, Damien Duff, whoever it was, back then, the wingers cutting in, just like Saka does now, and just like Martinelli does now. They're scoring 10 goals a season. So just statistically, it makes sense to then do that because now you have an additional person in the middle of the park, a holding midfielder. So you can play the double pivot, right? Which I'll get to in a little bit. But the point was that the reason Toney wouldn't fit in was because the crosses take time to come in for Arsenal. It's intricate passing, and it's harder to attack space there as a striker or areas as a striker because there's less space and area because intricate passing leads to the other team having a low block and dipping back, and he doesn't have them spaces to attack. For example, can you imagine Ruud van Nistelrooy playing for Arsenal right now? Wouldn't work, would it? Wouldn't happen. Manchester United are finding this as well. They've got Hodgson, proper striker, he's attacking areas, but Antony and Rashford are not going to do your Beckham and your Giggs and play it in first time. So the idea around the 4-2-3-1, and here's where Mourinho's genius came in, he knew that the holding midfielders were the key component of this formation. If you had someone like Makelele, okay, and then a box-to-box, and then he's done it with, Chelsea have done it recently with Kante, right? You have this one exceptional holding midfielder, you can then release your fullbacks. And that's what essentially they're doing by having three at the back. They're moving in another central midfielder that then frees someone up, okay? So the fullbacks, so the crosses then come in for your Drogba from fullbacks, or your Toney from fullbacks. Arsenal aren't doing that. Ben White is not getting down. He does it now and again, but he's not getting down and putting 5 crosses in a game. Okay? Manchester United with Luke Shaw, with Dalot, with Wan-Bissaka, and this is why one of the reasons Wan-Bissaka, struggles so much in a 4-2-3-1 for Manchester United, a team that is in possession of the ball, is that you've got to be able to get down the line and swing in crosses, which means you've got to have really good holding midfield players to let them go, which Manchester United with McTominay and Fred did not have. And I might be waffling here, but I just want to explain this system to you because it was so interesting that when you put a striker like a Toney in Arsenal, just like if you put a Ruud van Nistelrooy in Manchester United today, they would not be as prolific. They say the game's moved on, but what you're doing is that you're taking 2 strikers away, putting it with one, to then allow people like Mohamed Salah to score more goals, and okay, he scored as many as a striker, to cut in and score more goals, and you're relying on the crosses coming from the overlaps from the fullbacks. So you've got to have strong holding midfielders. Manchester United struggled under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with that immensely. Actually, funnily enough, with Solskjaer's tactics and the way he had it set up, he did the double pivot, and our fullbacks got forward quite well. The problem was, two of Fred and McTominay weren't as good as one Kante. And we were constantly having to carry them two just to be able to try and protect the fullbacks. But in transition, we were often missed out because Fred would go wandering. What you want is you want a 6 and an 8, and the number 8 be smart and savvy and know when to drop back into spaces and help that number 6 when they've slid. So the system, it just amazed me, because like I'm thinking about these teams, and I'm thinking about kind of these top level coaches that have these 4-2-3-1 systems. And yeah, Liverpool have advanced to 4-3-3, and again, I explain why Man City are there. But you have someone like Solskjaer, someone like Manchester United, and they're doing it now. And the system's not correct for what we're doing. They'd be better off with 4-4-2, in my opinion, because then you could have outside midfielders that were box to box, essentially number 8s on the outside, right? Just like Giggs and Beckham used to do, that would cross the ball in and still have the overlap. You'd be missing the person in midfield, but it wouldn't be such a weight on the wingers and the number 10 to get goals, because you had two strikers. And of course, statistically, you know, it's not always down to statistics, but it really just, my kind of buzzer went off. I'm like, okay, who's the last player other than Toney that comes to mind that was a great attacking space? It's Ruud van Nistelrooy. How would Ruud van Nistelrooy get on for Manchester United now? Could you imagine Ruud van Nistelrooy right now playing with Antony and Rashford? He'd be pulling his hair out. Yeah, the little passes from Fernandes. Van Nistelrooy was good at getting on the shoulder. He wasn't that quick, but he was good at getting on the shoulder. He could get in. But honestly, he wouldn't fit into Manchester United right now at all. Which makes you think, okay, we've got these players, these these players that cut in, okay, that are playing essentially the position that the weaker foot would be the one naturally swinging the ball in. So having that attacking space, and that's what concerns me about Hodgson as well. He's good at attacking spaces, so then balls need to get better. But sometimes they've got to whip him in quicker. And now Manchester United, what Ten Hag's probably thinking is, hang on, if I can get Casemiro firing and someone like Mount with loads of energy, and this is probably what he went to the season thinking, I can release Shaw and Dalot. And Dalot's really good at crossing the ball in. We can get crosses into the box for the number 9. We've got a number 10 that can integrate pass in it, and away we go. The problem he's got is we don't, obviously, Reguilón seems to be serviceable. Amrabat is not a left back, obviously. He looks like a real player, but he's not a left back. And Wan-Bissaka's never going to do that job. Wan-Bissaka's a great sub, and you bring him on when you're playing Barcelona and you know you're going to have 40% of possession. And, you know, Dalot's been injured. So the fullbacks were our biggest miss this season so far, and that's why we're struggling so much. Everyone's talking about Casemiro's form. Well, it's because Casemiro's being left exposed because our fullbacks aren't as strong as they could be, should be, and we're giving the ball away in spaces. And Casemiro's legs haven't quite got yet that. They've improved dramatically. But that was it, the 4-2-3-1 system. And when you really break it down, Southgate's for England has managed to dumb down football tactics so we can all understand, if you will. But you can see, like in some games in the World Cup, he would play a 5, okay? 2 wing backs, 3 central defenders, and 2 holding midfielders. So he'd play a 7 and a 3. And I've heard people like Paul Merson talk about attacking players, you know, you want a 5 and a 5, a 6 and a 4, a 7 and a 3. If you think of Man City, they've got, you know, it's all over the place. Manchester United teams evolved. Keane and Scholes in the middle could do both. Everyone could, you know, the wing backs flying forward. But the great thing about the 4-2-3-1 is that you added goals from wide areas because they're cutting in. You had a forward that you knew would be able to get in behind, and then you had the fullbacks serving them natural crosses first time. Okay? But if you don't have them holding midfielders like United didn't have with Fred, it's not going to work. And what I see with Arsenal right now, and kind of full circle, bit of a ramble, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. What I see with Arsenal right now is if Toney goes in that team and they're cutting in, Odegaard's fantastic, right? In that number 10 role, he'll get there. I don't think they're strong enough fullback-wise or holding midfield-wise. That's why playing like a false 9 is almost really beneficial to them. I know Jesus is a striker, but he's not your out-and-out attacking-the-box striker. He'll do bits for you too. So it's almost benefiting them the way they play. I think if they got a player like Ivan Toney, much like Harry Kane kind of was at Tottenham, they'd be a weaker team. Anyway, I hope that made sense there. I kind of try to be as clear as possible. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. If you don't like it, please comment and tell me why, and we can have a conversation about that and decide you're wrong. No, I'm just joking. Brian Clough quote. And then I will see you next time. Thanks so much.